through the car. That's my reenactment of it. You're welcome for that. I'm an actor. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am the Horror Sensei, and today I'm going to be talking about the 1981 movie Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker. Woo! Where do I even start with this movie? This is bonkers. If you saw my last video, you will know that I recently picked this movie up from a local video store, entertainment store that we have called Entertain Mart here in Nebraska. It was a great release. It's a Code Red film. I had to pick it up. It was a first time watch for me tonight, so it's a blind buy. But it has been on my radar forever. I've been dying to check it out, and finally did. And I don't even know what to say about this movie, guys. Like, this movie is insane. First of all, we gotta talk about, I was gonna say cameo. It isn't really a cameo, though, because he was nobody in 1981. It does have a very, very young Bill Paxton in the movie, who, amazing actor, love to see him. And so it was really cool to see him as like a high school kid in this movie. He was only in a couple scenes, but they were still fun to see. The star of this movie, hands down, is Susan Tyrrell. An absolutely unhinged performance in the very best way is how I can describe her. Her character is, let me see, if you take Norma Bates, if you take, I forgot her character name, but the mom from Carrie, and let's go ahead and throw some Pamela Voorhees into a blender. You're going to spin that blender on high, and you're going to get Susan Tyrrell's character from Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker at the end. That's going to be the end result. Oh my goodness. From the very opening, first of all, the first 5 minutes, the opening scene to this movie, incredible. Okay, incredible. Has an awesome decapitation scene, very Final Destination-esque, if you've seen Final Destination 2. Very, I'm sure you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. The through the car. That's my reenactment of it. You're welcome for that. I'm an actor. But no. So, really cool opening scene to that. And then we're 14 years later into the future, and this is when we first get a look at Susan Tyrrell's character. And how do I say this? She's pretending to be a cat, raking up her 17-year-old nephew by purring and like scratching at him and meowing at him. Okay, so this is our first look at her character. And from this opening scene, we're thinking, whoa, okay, this is incredibly bizarre. I am very thankful that I never once had a family member in my 35 years of life so far try to like purr at me and be a cat to rake me up. So good job, family, for not doing that, And I would like to say that her character, maybe evens out along the way. No, she gets more and more unhinged as the movie goes along. And the performance that she gives is the movie. Like, it is the reason to see this movie, okay? She literally gives it her all. She is a complete psychopath in this movie. If you haven't seen it, spoilers, I guess, but it came out in 1981, so I'm not that afraid of a spoiler. She's the killer. She's the villain in the movie. She's trying to keep her nephew, who, again, there's all spoilers here. if you haven't seen it. She's trying to keep her nephew, who actually turns out to be her son. Dun dun dun! Big reveal later on in the movie. At home, and basically never leave her. Okay, she got broken up with a guy in high school who is the father of this kid, and she killed him because he was trying to leave her, right? So now the kid, basketball star, right, on the same basketball team as Bill Paxton, right? Awesome. And he's getting a scholarship offer to the University of Denver. I don't know. Was the University of Denver a big like basketball powerhouse in the 1981? I of all the universities they could have picked, I don't know. And I think the movie takes place in Arizona, so I don't know. Seems kind of bizarre, but whatever. And she's like freaking out. One of my favorite lines from the movie was something about like only wealthy kids and you have to be smart to go to college, and you're neither of them. She yells at the kid. So that was pretty funny. The kid is played by Jimmy McNichol. He does a pretty good job. The acting, the rest of the cast, all does a pretty good job. There's some very dry parts and some not great moments from the cast. Obviously, nobody stands up to Susan Tyrrell's performance, but he does an okay job for the most part. And so, she's trying to do everything she can. She's trying to kill everybody that is even remotely close to this kid, and that's not a lot. He has like a girlfriend named Julie. She tries to kill her. She survives, though, thankfully. And we learn at the end credits, they give a "Where Are They Now?" And we learn that him and Julie are both attending the University of Denver. So, again, with the University of Denver plays a big part in this movie. So, basically, that's the movie, okay? It's the crazy aunt at the beginning, who turns out to be the mom, is trying to do everything in her power to keep her son, at home, locked away with her forever and ever and ever. There are some really, really cringy, gross moments that, I think you kind of know where I'm going with this. The whole cat thing, for one. And just, it's anytime you see like family members like that interact on screen, it's like really gross out sometimes, like Game of Thrones level, right? Like, ugh, no thank you, right? Blah. Like, so keep that in mind. Now, here's the downfall of this movie and why it was really tough for me to sit through this in 2022, okay? A lot of bigotry and discrimination and really, really offensive bad language. Not a fan of any of that. Just very hateful language. It's tough to sit through at times, And, if you've seen the movie, there's several, the characters are gay, and just very hateful language towards them. And it's kind of tough because it's so gross to hear that in the movie, because we don't get that, thankfully, in 2022 that much, unless it's the movie where they're making a point, right? So this was kind of tough to sit through. We are dealt with one of the most obnoxious characters I can recall in movie history, and that's the detective in this movie, okay? This guy is a piece of crap, literally, all right? So this is the guy that's using most of the language, obviously just a completely bigoted, racist frittata, just a horrible, horrible guy. And so we are supposed to not like him. We're supposed to disdain him, and we do. Believe me, we do. We cannot stand this guy at all by the end of the movie. So I guess if they were going for, you really are going to hate this guy, then props to him because he really made me hate him, right? So I feel like the movie would have been the same if they would have maybe changed that around a bit, took some of that out. But again, this isn't an excuse, but it was 1981. It's a different time, which is why we're correcting a lot of those mistakes now, right? That's just kind of how I look at it. We're correcting those mistakes that they made back then. So, that's kind of like a trigger warning, I guess. If you haven't seen this movie yet, be prepared for some very offensive language and just one of the worst characters ever. Okay, so just there's that. Some other aspects I didn't love about the movie. I felt the editing was very choppy at times. It just wasn't smooth transitions at all. It was very blocky, very choppy. And not the entire movie, but very specific scenes just felt very, like they could have done a very much better of a job. Says the guy, you can't even speak English, right? But I feel like they could have. I also felt the pacing was good for the most part. I feel like it did maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes shorter could have helped the movie a little bit. It dragged at times towards the third and final act. Not terribly, not enough to make me like go down a star in my Letterboxd rankings for it, but definitely enough to be noticeable. And if I notice that, if I'm watching a movie and I'm sitting through like the third act and I'm like, I wonder if they're going to wrap it up soon, maybe I don't like to think about that. I don't want that to cross my mind while I'm watching a movie, I just want it to play out nice and smoothly and have it be over, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that was amazing. Where did the time go, right? So if I'm comprehending the time, usually not the best, characteristic of the movie. That's the directing. It was pretty good. It could have been a little bit better. I think some scenes could have been shot a bit better. But overall, nothing to really complain about. It was pretty standard fare for the early 80s. I will say that it kind of plays off much more as a 70s horror film than an early 80s horror film, in my opinion. I got that vibe a lot. I got that 70s vibe, 70s aesthetic kind of a lot more than I did 80s. So I'm a huge fan of 80s horror. I'm sure if you follow me at all, you know that it's definitely my favorite time for horror movies. So this one to me just didn't have that vibe. It didn't have that feel of an 80s horror movie. It definitely felt much more 70s horror. To me, that's not a bad thing. That's a fine thing. Not a bad thing at all. That's not a criticism of the movie. Just an observation from yours truly. Okay? That's all that is. Overall, I'm going to give the movie 4 stars out of 5 on my Letterboxd review. I liked it. I thought it was good. Susan Tyrrell is the reason to see this movie. Towards the end, like that final act, she cuts her hair herself, and just the look in her eyes is just, it freaks me out. Like, it creeps you out just looking at her towards the end of the movie, let alone what she's doing, let alone what she's saying, her actions, but just her look is creepy enough. And she's got this great menacing, like smirk and growl down. Great job from her. So yeah, that's my review of Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker. I definitely recommend checking it out. If you're not ready to commit to buying it, from Code Red, Shudder, if you have Shudder, it is available to see on Shudder. So, give it a watch on Shudder. If you've already seen it, or if you're planning to, let me know in the comments below. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. Guys, you're already here. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Hit that little bell to get notified every time I post a video. I do all kinds of fun stuff on here. And then follow my main YouTube channel. I do it over at Sons of Haddonfield with my bro, Ibeck Joe. We talk about movies, we do unboxings, we do all kinds of fun stuff over there. We have a really big video coming up for you guys, the 2021 Oscars of Horror, I guess 2022 Oscars of Horror, sorry. So that's going to be really fun. We're going to be filming that really soon. You can also follow me on my Instagram page at Horror Sensei. You can follow me on my Letterboxd at Husker Sensei. And follow me on Twitter at that Sons of Haddonfield account, which is Haddonfield Sons. All right? So, thank you for checking this video out. Like I said, drop a comment if you have or if you plan to see Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker. And tell me why you think Susan Tyrrell is the best in this movie. All right? That is it for tonight. See ya later.